Welcome to the Ironworks at Pencoyd Landing. This exceptional project, located on an old industrial site along the Schuylkill River in Lower Merion Township, received a 2022 Montgomery Award for innovative reuse, sustainable design, and extensive public amenities. Let's take a closer look.
When we started acquiring the land, my real vision was like, how do we reactivate this riverfront? Like, people love water, people are drawn to the water. How do we get, and not just say a kayaker or someone fishing, but how do we get the community to come down? How can we get families, young children, older folks? How can everybody come down and enjoy? I mean, the Schuylkill River is actually quite a beautiful river. Another one of our major goals was to connect the city and the suburbs, Philadelphia, to Montgomery County and Lower Merion, and to create a space that everyone kind of felt welcome. So if you're living in the city, you can come here and have a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of greenery, and it was kind of creating a space that people in the suburbs, which is a little more homogeneous, to come down and feel a little bit more urban, a little bit more interesting, and a lot of more mixing of what people are coming here for.
And talk about everything aligning together, because that was exactly our goal. So back in 2004, you're moving in your parallel piece to develop the site. The township's looking to redevelop this site as well. And at that same time, the Montgomery County Planning Commission had a open space bond. And we had to come up with an open space plan. And part of that major goal, that open space plan, was connecting Lower Merion to the regional trail network. It happens to connect right over here behind us on the Pencoyd Bridge. One of the cool things about the trail network here is it's different from other trails in the region. We called the Kinwood Heritage Trail the Kinwood Heritage Trail for a reason, because it had a lot of really interesting heritage to Lower Merion. Lower Merion was, we think of it as a place of single family home, but it really had this industrial heritage going forward. And when you look at all of the elements that have been incorporated into this trail, of the original iron, the old bridges, the steel, with the trail and the river, it really is something special in the region's trail network. And part of it is also, besides just the industrial elements, the green elements of it. As you go down the Schuylkill River, one of the defining elements of it are sycamore trees. Right? Yeah. When you see it, like in the wintertime, the stark whiteness of it. It's not the London plane tree that you see on developments everywhere, but it's the sycamore, that white. And so much of that incorporated into here. It's so beautiful how that edge has been brought into it, where you see the river, and it's a nice transition between the starkness of the industry, the mature trees that are here that have been opened up, and then the river going forward.
I think what is extraordinary in particular about the Ironworks at Pencoyd Landing is the vision to retain its post-industrial character, the cranes, the metalworks, all of the remnant characteristics that make this place unique, not to erase them, but to actually bring them forward as participants in the dialogue of this extraordinary place, and to insert in that hospitality and resiliency in the context of stormwater management, of native plantings, of diverse peoples, all coming together in this one great living machine that is the Ironworks at Pencoyd Landing.
What are the different uses? Of course, we thought about apartments, we thought about office buildings, and honestly, it was Google Maps that made it possible to put a hotel down here. Because it's close, it just doesn't feel close.
Once the Penn Group decided on the hotel, the next challenge was how to incorporate some of the existing industrial fabric of the site into the new structures. And as we're standing underneath the old crane area, that was incorporated as part of the entry sequence into the hotel. And the soils here, as an industrial site for over a century, are contaminated. So they had to work with contaminated soils. The soils had also been moved around for a century, and so the compaction of the soil for building a structure had to be specially designed with dynamic compaction. And then we also have the Schuylkill River, which is a floodplain.
When we first were here, this was all a construction site. We had a rebar shop, and we had no visitors. We were at the edge of the town. And as soon as the bridge opened, we had commuters coming across the bridge. So we started to become part of a community. And then as we developed the site, we suddenly were part of a neighborhood, which has been fantastic. Doing a design build project really gave us a lot of opportunities to do things that we couldn't ordinarily do. The craneway, as you enter from the tunnel to the site, really helps to frame the site and bring the regional scale of the railroad and the highway down to a more pedestrian level. The first steps were carving away the skin of the warehouse, which was the corrugated steel that you see on the facade behind me. In the end, we saved 13,000 square feet of it.
The challenges of we want to use this rusted material. We want to somehow use it as a facade. Then the challenge of coming up with a design that got us to meet the codes for insulation, for weather barrier, creating a rain screen behind it to make it a watertight, secure building, and then being able to use the facade on top of it was a lot of back and forth and a lot of different ideas, and we finally settled on one that we all felt comfortable with.
It's not just about the cranes that we incorporated into the dialogue of experience here, but also in the harvesting and reuse of materials throughout the site. Bridge abutments that are made into benches, slate that was harvested from the old factory roofs to become part of the stormwater management system here, and other elements that you will see peppered throughout the site that are very much about the textural quality, the beauty of the place.
This has been a very rewarding and unique site. I guess typically in our business, we're either doing new construction or renovation of an existing building or structure. This site, we reused it for different purposes, whether in place or moving it to different parts of the site for different uses.
This building in particular was structural in nature. They made steel for bridges. So when we came in here, all the skeleton of the building is like sacred material for us. So the uses that we found for the steel as site elements and ornamentation and secondary elements were fine. The existing structure was so robust and had so much capacity that it was easily adapted to those uses. And it was really a fun project. I really love old buildings. And this building had everything that a structural engineer could want. It had the bridge cranes, it had trusses, it has latticed columns, it has rivets. So it has all of the kind of fabric from a structural standpoint that we could ever dream of getting involved with. So it was really a very fun project. And they're not all fun, but this was one of the most fun, I think, that I've been involved in. I guess, Chris, you might agree also. So.
I agree, and fortunately, there's plenty more work to do on this site, so we're not done yet.
At the end of the day, it's about connections, like the connection with Lower Merion, the connection with the river, but also the connection with our industrial heritage. Like, we are all the beneficiaries of work that people have done for hundreds of years to make this environment. And so we're kind of trying to honor that while bringing everybody here just to connect together at this site, and just to see everybody have a good time is really just so rewarding.
The Ironworks at Pencoyd Landing is an outstanding example of a reuse project that successfully transformed the riverfront, therefore ensuring it as a vibrant destination for years to come. Thank you for taking a look with us.